Moving on now to my team, the Chargers, at home to the Cowboys. I'll let you kick this one off because I've got a few points to make.
Yeah, let's say this game, the first game for the Los Angeles Chargers at the SoFi Stadium, it was a big hype game because of course, despite them not being very good nowadays, they're still technically called America's team. That's because of the fan base. That is the Dallas Cowboys. This one finished 20-17 to Dallas. It was a game where I felt the Chargers were always up against it. Massive new stadium. Of course, the Chargers didn't originate in Los Angeles. They're mainly known for being in San Diego. So although it's the same state, California is bigger than the United Kingdom. And I've been to both Los Angeles and San Diego. They're actually a good few hours apart. And it was one of them, it was a purely momentum game, weren't it, really, Brad, where the Cowboys taking, as I say, the early lead via Pollard. It was a case then where both quarterbacks then tried to steal the show, as you had it where Justin Herbert then got intercepted off Diggs. And then you had it where Dak Prescott as well tried to take advantage and then got intercepted by Asante Samuel Jr., with the Chargers then falling further behind when Zeki Elliott then made it 14-3. In fairness to the Chargers, they then settled down after that, but I felt it was too bad a start in the end. Although it was a low-scoring affair, they just started too slowly, and of course, they then started to get a bit of rhythm going when, of course, Justin Herbert found Williams, who surprisingly, despite his inconsistency with the catching, made it back-to-back touchdown games. Then it came down to the kicking game, really, with, of course, I think I'm saying it right. Is it Vizzaglio?
Yep.
I'm trying to think how to say it. Yeah, guys, a bit of a mouthful, but we moved. He got, of course, 2. And then, of course, it was just a case of really who could get the ball in the right area for one of the kickers to attempt it late on. And unfortunately for yourself and fellow Chargers fan, Brad, it was the Dallas Cowboys that made a clutch play when they had to. Left it to Greg the Leg, who's probably not had the best time of it at Dallas, where he had a real big reputation in, of course, Los Angeles. So that makes it even more bittersweet for you. And to be fair to him, with the conditions being favourable, he then converted a vital, absolutely vital 56-yard field goal. And the Cowboys, I think you have to say in the end, probably stole a 20-17 win. So, as a Chargers fan, I mean, what's your overall feelings? Of course, disappointment would be the first word.
I was not disappointed. I was actually angry.
Oh, really?
We came back so strong after, again, for the second week. For the second week in a row, our starts to the game haven't been good. We can blame all the officials for being flag happy all they want. A team should not be giving away so many penalties like we did. I think the penalties in the end, I think they totaled to nearly 100 yards. That's two Justin Herbert drives down the field, or definitely one, potentially 2 Justin Herbert drives down the field. Justin Herbert, we know how reliable he is towards the end zone. That's a touchdown. It was just silly things as well. Keenan Allen taunting, one of the most experienced NFL players, wide receivers, taunting after a catch. We all know that the NFL officials have ramped that up this year, and you'll get punished. And it was silly things that cost us.
Yeah, that comes under, just for listeners that are not quite sure, that of course comes under unsportsmanlike conduct. And that's instantly a flag and a 15-yard penalty, and that then ruins the good catches that he so often makes. I think that a lot of that, as they experience, should know better. It's like Julio Jones last week. But I do not an excuse necessarily, but I think a lot of the occasion got to the players because it's such a huge stadium so far. It was in a weird way. It's a home game for the Chargers, but also a home game for Dallas because there's so many sets of fans there. It was almost like a neutral venue, and it was a tough, close matchup against 2 fairly evenly matched teams. And unfortunately for the Chargers, Dallas were more disciplined than them in the end. And the early lead, they had enough to hold on to, didn't they? Without playing great.
Yeah, you mentioned a key word there, discipline. We weren't disciplined at all. One I thought positive was Asante Samuel Jr. I thought he had an excellent game in the defense. Shout out to Herbert as well. I think he broke another stat or equaled another stat. He had 16 completions in a row, which again, and some of them were like third and long, getting huge conversions, and then because of result of the silly penalties that we gave away. But yeah, it was one of them. Unfortunately, I think Herbert as well in the fourth quarter and this is what you said about the crowds earlier. You don't hear the play calling. I think Herbert he got intercepted in the fourth quarter. I think we would have taken a 5-6 point lead at that point. Gets intercepted. Prescott drives them up, which leads them to the winning field goal. It was yeah. As I said, I was sort of more angry with the discipline of our players. I don't mind sort of our players being up for it. I think Brandon Staley has done a good job in that. He's put the players up for it. But at the same time, in being up for it, you have to be disciplined. And that's what let us down.
Yeah, no, unfortunately. The good news is, though, is like you say, it was a good win last week on the road. Disappointing defeat this week, but there's still 15 games to go. Obviously, week 3, as we'll cover very shortly, will be, of course, like incredibly tough. But ultimately, it's performances. And I think if the discipline improves, then it's more encouraging sign for the weeks to follow. And and obviously week 3 in particular, you just never know what can happen, which we'll of course cover, as I say, a lot more shortly.